Coming up tonight, amid recent heated discussions on the presence of illegal Haitian migrants in the Bahamas, a Haitian village in southwest New Providence went up in flames earlier today. Plus, luck was not a lady for the 49ers nor the Cowboys. However, luck was on the side of some local winners who are on their way to watch Super Bowl 57 in Arizona. How about that? And 101-year-old Doris Smith says she's all about love and positivity. Her story is straight ahead on the Weekend Edition, which starts now. This is Our News Weekend Edition. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Megan Shepard. Smoke clouds filling the atmosphere this morning as an early morning blaze engulfed a shanty town on Pink Meadow Road off Bellard Road in the Carmichael Road area. Police Press Liaison Chief Superintendent Chrisling Skibbins telling media on the scene that firefighters were called to the scene shortly after 10 a.m.
On arrival, met a shanty town consisting of multiple wooden single-story structures totally engulfed in flames. Firefighters were able to bring the blaze under control within a relatively short period of time. We presently have on scene fire investigators along with crime scene investigators who have commenced work into this particular incident to see exactly how this fire started.
Skipping says she understands that over 20 homes were destroyed, leaving over 50 people displaced.
We have reached out to social services, and so we're presently awaiting their arrival so that they can assist the displaced persons in resuming normalcy in their lives at this particular time.
One resident who left to run errands returned home to meet everything going up in smoke.
I stepped out and went for groceries. See them over there? See the shopping bags? Just as I returned to put the bags inside, I saw the fire. And my passport was in my pocket and my work permit was in my wallet. That's all I was able to save.
An elderly resident upset with the fire truck's response time says she only managed to save one bag of her belongings and is unsure how she will start over.
1 hour went. One. Another one went. Pompier come, when he come, no water. Gone out again. All I was start to burn. All. Nobody saved nothing.
Skippings had this response as it relates to the arrival of the fire trucks.
They responded with 3 units, all of which were filled to capacity with water to be able to fight the blaze. Initially, when I arrived at the scene, I heard persons who were actually complimenting the firefighters on their response time and the fine work that they did in bringing this fire underneath control within a short period of time.
A 66-year-old of the shantytown says he's been in the Bahamas for some 46 years now and instantly lost everything in the blaze.
The good thing I get life and my children and my documents. Other than that, I ain't got nothing. Right now, my children can't go to school. Tablet, the government was give them. Laptop, they receive my phone, I buy for them. Close the school shows, buy and books. Everything good.
As illegal immigration and the growth of shantytowns in the country remain heated topics, the question of immigration and documentation was also addressed by Chief Superintendent Skippings.
Immigration maintains records and files, and so once persons would have had their papers, they can go back to immigration, those papers would be filed, and they would be able to provide them with a copy of their documentation.
Senators are weighing in on what many believe to be a healthcare crisis as the healthcare system, particularly the Princess Margaret Hospital, has come under scrutiny nationwide. Senate President Lachelle Adderley is calling for an overhaul of the current system.
Citizens who go to our public hospital receive optimal and best care while there. We cannot have citizens paying taxes and they are at the hospital, and unfortunately things are happening which should not be happening, and so definitely we need to have an overhaul of our healthcare system, and I'm hoping that we can do that in the very near future, and I believe that the Prime Minister of the Bahamas has committed to doing so, and so I'm sure that we would see definite improvements in the very near future.
Senator Barnett Ellis believes more funding and resources are needed to resolve the matter.
The reality is, that's all of our fault. Successive governments have not invested in healthcare the way that they should have. That being said, there are a lot of hard-working healthcare professionals in the hospitals, both PMH and doctors, who are doing what they need to do with the resources that they have. But we need to look at funding healthcare properly in the Bahamas. That is a fundamental human right, and for us to fall short on that, we are failing our citizens.
2022 was another record-breaking year for tourism as more than 7 million visitors came to the country. And this year, Tourism Minister Chester Cooper says the government is looking to continue the trend by attracting more visitors to our shores, adding that the plan is to look at ways to redevelop Bay Street.
We're currently looking at draft legislation for the management of the city center of Bay Street. The Attorney General has been working on that diligently. We have a draft of that legislation out for consultation at the moment, and we hope to be able to present that to the public soon.
The Tourism Minister says they're also looking to address issues of vagrancy in the area.
We believe we will be able to address some of this with the help of the police, with the help of social services, and under the auspices of the new mental health bill that we passed recently, we'll be able to take some action. It is important that Bay Street, our main downtown city center, is cleaned up for the benefit of residents, so that we can be proud and show that pride, but also for the tourism experience.
Coming up on Our News Weekend edition, Imagine celebrating 101 years of existence. One centenarian tells her story. Stay close. And some good news for Cat Island. No spoiler alert here. The details on the other side of the break. Don't touch that remote.
It's time now to meet the starters.
RTV, home of the 50th Carifta Games.
Welcome back. Executives in the Ministry of Tourism from around the world met this week for a workshop discussing the strategy for 2023 as well as how to improve the tourism product. Tourism Minister Chester Cooper says selling Grand Bahama is on the agenda.
In Grand Bahama, we're calling for entrepreneurs to get engaged, to create more tours, to create more opportunities, and really to tell their own story. We were extremely pleased with what we saw in Grand Bahama, from West End to East End to Freeport itself. The number of possibilities that exist for the tourist experience to be improved on Grand Bahama Island itself. Bahamians need to now get involved with seeing how they can cause the 500 tourists coming to Grand Bahama to become customers.
A number of Grand Bahama residents turning out for a recruitment exercise by the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services this week at the C.A. Smith Complex. The Bahamas Department of Corrections is looking to recruit some 20 people on the island in various capacities, from nurses, pilots, teachers, and chaplains. The recruitment exercise is open to Bahamians until February 14th, and BDOC's officials say those selected for the positions will be notified within 2 weeks. A 16-week training exercise will follow, which is scheduled to begin in March. Applicant Herbert Woodside telling Our News that the application process was smooth.
I feel like it's a great opportunity for me, and especially as a young man, to serve my country as well and to be the God-fearing person to show them that out there you still have a lot of young men that are willing to do something good for their career, and especially for their future as well.
He is also encouraging young men to believe in themselves and says he is keeping his options open for placement.
I'm willing to move off to NASA because I look at it as well too. Sometimes your future might be over on another island as well. So I look at it as a great opportunity too for me to get in and represent Grand Bahama as well.
The Bahamas will host the 13th Commonwealth Women's Affairs Ministers meeting this August. And in preparation for that event, an advance team visited the country this week. We were able to get some insight on what some of the pressing topics might be around the table this summer from Gender Advisor with the Commonwealth Secretariat, Jennifer Namgill.
Since 2016, ministers have identified a number of priorities to focus their dialogue and their work on. So these are around 4 major priorities, which is to say women's economic empowerment, women in leadership, ending violence against women and girls, and gender and climate change. And we hope also to, with the meeting in the Bahamas in particular, to further our work on disability inclusion when it comes to gender issues.
Since Earth Day 2013, Cat Island United has made great strides in expanding accessibility to sustainable energy sources and homegrown foods. And now they're being nominated for the 6th Global Entrep Awards. Marlena Leonard spoke to members of the group and has this story.
Cat Island United turns 10 this year and is nominated for an international award, the 6th Global Entrep Awards. President of Cat Island United, Ethel Turner.
Knowing that we're a very small island, population-wise, a very small and relatively new non-government organization, I think it's an amazing thing that the projects that we've been working on, and not for recognition, simply because we want better for our communities. We want our young people to become aware because the future is for them.
The group works tirelessly towards sustainable living on the island, and its efforts have brought stable electricity and hot water to some residents for the first time. But it doesn't stop with residential solar. The group has also helped in agricultural programs. The Cat Island Group's agriculture science educator Horace Forbes shares the impact that solar has had on the program.
Since the installation of those solar systems at the schools, we have been able to produce on a larger scale, better quality and quantity produce. So the kids saw and realized that yes, if we have available resources and quality resources, we can do a lot of things.
And Turner says none of it would have been possible without the Global Environment Fund.
Global Environment Fund is a program where we're allowed to apply for and receive small grants to help with our projects. And for everything I've said earlier, everything we have done so far, we would not have been able to do it without Global Environment Fund. And we're so very grateful. Global Environment Fund, our first grant we received in 2018. And we were able to use that for capacity building and to launch our recycling program. It's because of Global Environment Fund that we're able to do the sustainable farming and the small solar solutions that we have in our community even now.
Since Cat Island United has its roots in Earth Day, plans for this April 22nd are well underway. Board member James Honeycutt.
It's going to be down at the heritage site, which was known as the Regatta site in Newby, Cat Island, and there will be music, there will be raffle for that. There'll be activities for the kids. We'll have a small solar system set up that demonstrating how these systems work and what it takes to make that work.
The event will also showcase some of the proposed marine protected areas around Cat Island. For more information on Cat Island United and how you can help make a difference, visit catislandunited.com. Reporting for Our News Weekend Edition, I'm Marlena Leonard.
Thanks, Marlena. When Our News Weekend comes back from the break, by Cat Island will be the site of a new sporting complex. Stay tuned for that story. And some lucky winners are on their way to Super Bowl 57 in Arizona next Sunday. All expenses paid. Details coming up after the break.
of the 50th Carifta Games.
Welcome back to the Weekend Edition. The Building Elizabeth for Elizabeth organization partnering with Church of God of Prophecy, Pastor Dwight Ferguson, to memorialize some 31 persons from the Elizabeth Estates community who died from gun violence. The organization's founder, Corrington Burrows, said the art piece on the Elizabeth Estates Park serves as a reminder to the families that lost their loved ones that they are not forgotten. The founder calls for more active discussion about conflict resolution amid rising crime rates. Cat Island on tap to get a new sports complex in Old Bight, all in an effort to ensure Bahamians have access to proper sports training facilities. Prime Minister Philip Davis in Cat Island early this week. Our Sasha Lightborn was there.
Work on the Cat Island Community Park in Old Bight started in October last year. The park is expected to be outfitted with a tennis center, volleyball court, and baseball field, among other sports amenities. The project's landscape architect Andrea Grant explains.
We are developing about plus or minus 15 to 16 acres of land, which will include a 400-meter track, a basketball, a refurbished basketball court, and a beautiful baseball field. We are about, I would say, at least another 4 months out from completion. The completion of the baseball field, the resurfacing of the track, well, the building of the track, and then the resurfacing of the basketball court, and then we have concession buildings and also an announcer's booth to include in there.
Grant added that a playground and outdoor workout area will also be created, and the track will be built to international standards. Member of Parliament for Cat Island, the Prime Minister, spoke to the importance of such a facility, not just for Cat Island, but the plans to replicate the same throughout the country.
We're hoping to have the Bahama Games back in full force and as a consistent event. But we recognize that the Family Island athletes were always at a disadvantage because of the fact they lacked the facilities to train and to hone their skills. And so what we're doing here is going to be replicated throughout the islands so that Family Islanders will have the same opportunities as those are in New Providence. And this is just the template of what we're doing. We're going to see how it works here, and we're going to carry it over to other Family Islands.
Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Sasha Lightborn.
3 lucky football fans and Bud Light drinkers are on their way to Phoenix, Arizona to watch this year's Super Bowl game, thanks to Jimmy's Wines and Spirits. Brand manager Nathan Arnett explained that each winner will have a +1 for their all-expenses-paid trip.
They get an all-exclusive package, which includes a flight, all experience, an all-exclusive experience once they get to Phoenix. We have concerts, we have things for AB and Bev in general. As the parent company, where if you want to do something for Michelob Ultra, they have that. So we have a whole curated experience for these guys.
The Super Bowl is slated for February 12th, and these winners say they are excited to go to the big game. However, they were a bit skeptical at first.
A lot of my friends do like prank calls and stuff, so it took a while for it to settle in, for me to realize that I actually was a true winner. Thanks to Bud Light, thanks to Jimmy's and Anheuser-Busch. It's a really good opportunity. I'm glad to be a part of it.
I thought it was a hoax as well, especially because he said, well, I'm going to text you in a few minutes to give you some details. Well, that text never came, so I didn't tell anybody about it. Apparently they were in a meeting for a few hours, so everybody, they didn't get the text right away. So I just said, well, okay, somebody pulled the prank on me. But lo and behold, the text came later in the evening. And thanks to Bud Light, we'll be going to the Super Bowl. So I'm the Bahamian, real Bahamian, Dolphins. We're not going to be there, but that's all right.
Well, it looks like the rain has gone away. The weather report is on the way. And 101-year-old Doris Smith says part of the secret of her longevity is no smokes and no drinks. The details straight ahead.
home of the 50th Carifta Games.
Thanks for sticking with us. You're watching Our News Weekend Edition. Let's take a look at weather over the next few days to plan the new week just right. This February 1st, Doris Smith celebrated her 101st birthday. The centenarian was born in 1922 in 8 Mile, Grand Bahama, where she still resides. These days, Smith says she's all about love and positivity.
I am a person I very, very love to be contented. And I don't like to make people feel miserable. And the people that is around me, I wouldn't want them to be tired with me and make them uncomfortable, you know. That's the kind of person I am. And I wouldn't let them know my good part or my bad part. I always like to be smiling. I want love. Love from all of you little girls and boys. I want to know that they say, oh, that was a loving woman. That satisfies me very much.
Growing up, Smith spent much of her days near the bay.
I couldn't live without looking at the ocean, you know. The ocean was in my face at all times. I used to go out until the water catch me around my waist. And then it catch me above my navel. But I say it's time to stop.
She also had a great love for fishing.
Get turbot, get yellowtail. And you know, like it was crazy. I wasn't afraid of shark or barracuda or anything like that. Carry my cutlass and my rod. When I see them coming at me, I ain't miss. I strike them.
For her 101st birthday, Smith was surrounded by family and friends. She says she even cut loose just a little bit.
Mine, you know, I feel like I could drink wine. I drink wine. But I got a keeper. She feels like drinking wine is sin. I gotta make her to know that when Jesus was on earth, he made more water into wine than anything else. So my mind can't be sin.
Doris Smith says her secret to long life, she's never smoked tobacco and she doesn't drink alcohol. She says she has this message for the world.
I lived 100 years and I know it was before a tribunal bar. I know it was in the hospital detained. And if I live 100 years, and wasn't in them places, they could do the same. Okay?
All awesome words of advice, Miss Doris. Continue to enjoy the rest of your birthday week. And thank you so much for joining us for Our News Weekend Edition. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepard. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.